Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to understand two important infrastructure components, that is the service mesh and the API gateway. Okay, so both are used in microservices architecture, but they solve different problems altogether. So let's break down what they are, how they work, and when to use which one. All right. So before jumping to the the service mesh, first I'll just give you a brief about the API gateway first. In my previous video, I've already discussed about API gateway in detail. I'll put that link in the description so you can check that out. By the way, this is our fifth video in the RGB system design playlist for the third section, networking and communication protocols. I've already covered the first two sections in my playlist. So you can just go ahead and check the RGB system design playlist in my channel. You can just go and type RGB system design playlist in the YouTube and you'll land on this playlist. Here we are covering all the system design concepts in a most structured way possible and lucid way possible. So we'll be covering all the concepts in a detailed manner one by one. Okay, so we'll be able to understand all the system design concepts here. So before that, let me just give you a brief about the API gateway. So an API gateway is a server that sits at the entry point of your system. So this is your client, this is your API gateway. So it handles incoming requests and routes them to the appropriate backend services. So these are my backend services. All right. So some of the common responsibilities of an API gateway are, first one is the routing. All right. Routing means directing the request to the right microservices, as you can see. Next is implementing authentication and authorization. That means checking for tokens and credentials. Next, we have the rate limiting. That means controlling the number of requests per IP address or per user to control the load on the microservices, right? Then there is caching, which is used to store the frequently requested data to reduce the load. Then there is logging and monitoring. Okay, that means it's kind of observability part, which we'll be covering in our later part of the RGB system design playlist. So this is the common duty of a API gateway. Some of the API gateway, popular API gateways are Kong, then Amazon API gateway, Azure API gateway, Nginx, Trafeik, all those things are already there. So in short, API gateway acts as a bridge between your external clients and your internal services. That's the brief about the API gateway. So now what do we mean by service mesh? Now what we'll do a deep dive into the service mesh first. So service mesh is a powerful concept used in microservices based architecture. So if I just scroll down a bit, now just think of like this. Okay, you have the client here, this is your API gateway, and the request flows to the services like this. So this is the, let's say, one service which you are able to connect to using through your API gateway, and internally this servers or services communicate with service 2 and service 3. Let's say this is your service A, this is your service B, okay, and this is your service C. So client connects with API service A through API gateway. A internally communicates with B, B internally communicates with C, then gives the response back. So that's the brief about the entry point of the cluster first. Now our complete focus will be in this area only. We saw the below part, this area will be completely focused. So this entire explanation that I am going to do, it will help you understand what a service mesh is, why it is needed, what are its core components, how it works internally, what are the popular tools that are there, and when we should consider using one service mesh in your application. All right. So let's get started. So before we understand what a service mesh is, let's just first talk about why even we need it. What is the need of service mesh? So in a monolithic application, let's say you have only one server. Just forget about these two components. Let's say you have only one server and one entry point for your client. And it's a completely monolithic application. That means all the components are tightly integrated in, and the internal communication between multiple parts of your server happens via function calls. But in a microservice based architecture, let's say you have microservices like this ABC, we break systems into smaller services that communicate over the network. So A to B communication is done over the network, B to C communication is done over the network again. So this communication introduces several challenges. All right. So this communication gray area that you see, gray line, this communications poses some challenges. The first one is how do services discover each other. That means how A knows what is the IP address of B and how do I connect to it, right? Or the service address of it. Now what happens if a service fails or becomes slow? How do you enforce security between two microservices communication? How do you trace a request across multiple services? Let's say user is sending one request here through API gateway that flows through A, B, then C, then final response comes back to A, right? A response comes back to the client. How do you trace the entire execution of the service? How do you implement traffic control like retries, timeout, rate limiting, all those things? One way is we can try to handle this in each of the service. We have to write the logic here, inside this, and inside this to handle these things. So if you do this, it kind of creates a code duplication. Everywhere you have to write the similar thing and makes the system harder to maintain in the long term. This is exactly where service mesh comes into the picture. All right. Now, what is a service mesh? Service mesh is a dedicated infrastructure layer that handles service to service communication in a transparent way. So it helps manage how services talk to each other like this without putting the logic inside your application code or the business code. All right. So it does those communication things between microservices through two things. One is the sidecar proxies. This car that you see, these are the sidecar services. I have put it as a car. These are sidecar proxies which are deployed alongside each service. So one-to-one mapping between service and a sidecar proxy, and then there is a control plane. So this configures and manages this proxy that you see here. All right. Now these proxies that you see, sidecar proxies, they take care of few things like routing, then load balancing, security like mutual TLS between two services, right? I mean, how to make the communication between two microservices secure. Observability, that means logs, metrics, traces, all those things we can keep track of using this kind of sidecar services. Resilience, that means retries, timeout, you want to have a circuit breaker pattern, you want to have a rate limiting on your service. You can do this through this sidecar proxies that you see. That means you don't need to worry about implementing those concerns in your application code. Rather, you can just hand it over to a sidecar proxy like this. So now if I just dive a little bit into the components of a service mesh, as I discussed, there is a data plane, there is a control plane. Now data plane is these are the data plane, the sidecar proxies that you see. So this is where the actual communication happens basically, right? The sidecar proxies help the communication between two microservices helpful. I mean easier. So the sidecar proxies example is Envoy, right? So these are injected alongside each instance of our microservices, as you can see. Now every request between the services passes through this proxy. The request will come through this, then through the service it will go to the next sidecar, then from this sidecar it will reach the service B. So sidecar to service A, service A to sidecar of service B, then from this sidecar to service B. Finally the request flows like this. What does it help in? If we flow the request like this, it helps in monitoring all the traffic, securing the traffic with TLS, applying routing rules without modifying your application code. So because you can have all those restrictions at the sidecar level only. Alright. Now the next thing is the control plane. So control plane is the kind of brain of the service mesh. Alright. So it configures and manages the behavior of the sidecar proxy that you see. The control plane handles few things like service discovery and policy enforcement, right? If you want to have some policy applied at service level, you can apply that. Traffic controls rules, as I saw, rate limiting, circuit breakers, all those things you can have. Certificate and identity management for security implementation. So some of the examples are Istio. It's a popular one you used popularly in the Kubernetes world. Then Linkerd is there. Then Consul Connect is also there. These are some of the popular control planes that you can integrate with in your entire microservices architecture. So that was about the components of the components of a service mesh. Now if we just discuss about key features of a service mesh, the main feature is traffic management, because using the entire service mesh architecture, we now see we can control the flow, how traffic flows between one service to another. So using this, we can perform A/B testing, right? Or canary deployments or blue-green deployments. For example, you have two versions of a service. Let's say we have another version of this service. All right. This is also service only, but this contains, let's say, version v1 of the service. Okay. A ka v1 and let's say this contains version 2. I mean the latest updated version of v2. So using this service mesh, you can do the A/B testing, right? A/B testing is in some part of the request you can, let's say 30% of the request you can pass to v2 and 70% of the request you can pass to v1, just to see how v2 performs. Accordingly, then you can go to a full-fledged deployment in the v2. That's what we do in the this different type of deployment strategy, right? A/B testing, canary deployment, or blue-green deployment. All those things I'm again going to cover in the later part of the playlist. But for now, that is the brief. All right. Next feature of the service mesh is security, because service mesh support MTLS or mutual TLS by encrypting and authenticating service to service communication. All right. And next thing is again observability. So collecting metrics, logs, Then traces across the service to service communication becomes easier with this kind of proxy servers in a service mesh. I'll discuss about metrics, logs, and traces in detail in the later part of the video when I'll be discussing about observability, right? That is in the 8th section, so I'm not going deep now. I'm just giving you a brief. So if you want to understand what a trace is, for now you can just Google it and find it out. But in the 8th section, I'll be discussing in detail. All right. So those are some of the features. Then we have again resilience like retrace timeout as I already discussed. Then some of the popularly used service mesh are Istio. So that is most popular and feature is service mesh that is widely used. It uses Envoy. This sidecar that you see, it uses Envoy as the sidecar. And there is another called Linkerd. Linkerd is lightweight and simpler than Istio. It is great for small teams or those who just are starting with service mesh. You can explore Linkerd also. All right. Then there is Consul Connect, which is given by HashiCorp actually. It combines service discovery and service mesh both. So it works well in a multi-cloud or hybrid cloud environment. So you can think of using Consul Connect there. All right. Then there is another called Kuma and Open Service Mesh (OSM). So that is a CNCF backed project, and it's a simpler alternative for Kubernetes native environment. So you can either go ahead with Istio or go ahead with Open Service Mesh and those things. All right. So each tool has its own trade-offs like performance, complexity, features, etc. So based on the requirement, you can choose a particular tool for your need. Now the final question is, when should we use a service mesh? The short answer is service mesh is powerful but complex piece of infrastructure, as you can already be realizing from this discussion that I just made. So you should consider using service mesh if you have large number of microservices, you have a lot of microservices to deal with. You need secure encrypted communication between the microservices. This is a most important crucial point. The communication between microservices, you want it to be secured so that the hacking cannot be possible or tampering with the services communication cannot be possible. You want a detailed observability like metrics, tool, log collection, traces, etc. And you are doing frequent deployments and need advanced traffic control system. In those cases, you can think of using service mesh in your network, okay, in your infrastructure. But if your architecture is simple and you have only few services, few microservices, then the added complexity of service mesh might not be justified to use. All right. So you can just go ahead with your simple deployment without using service mesh even. So just to recap, a service mesh, as you can see, it helps you manage service to service communication in a microservices architecture. It gives you security, observability, resilience, and traffic control. It consists of a data plane and a control plane. It is great for large dynamic distributed systems. And the API gateway we have already discussed. I am not going to discuss it again. But the main thing is you need to keep a point in mind that it comes with operational overhead. Alright, so that will be a learning curve for you if you are implementing service mesh in your architecture. So always evaluate your needs before you want to adopt the service mesh in your application. Okay, just don't go blindly and just use it in the architecture. You should not do like that. So that's the deep dive on service mesh. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Let's target 50 likes to this video. I'm planning to reach 3,600 subscribers by the end of this month. Let's see if that is possible. Keep supporting. If you have any doubts or questions about the discussion that I just made, put them in the comment section. We'll discuss there. So if you want a practical demo on Istio or Linkerd in Kubernetes world, let me know in the comments. I'll create a video on that also about the practical implementation of Istio. Okay. So just a side note, just check out the RGB system design playlist to understand all the system design concepts in the most easiest way possible. So thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.